Parents cancelled my ticket and sent message. Have a nice taxi back home, loser. I laughed and wrote okay. When they came back, they were shocked when I don't know what I was expecting that morning, but it certainly wasn't this. My parents had been talking about this family vacation for weeks. A big trip for all of us, me, my brother, my sister, and them. They planned it, they picked the place, and they made all the arrangements. It wasn't my idea, but I was looking forward to it. We didn't get to do this kind of thing very often. I lived in another city, but there was an airport here, so I was supposed to fly out and meet them at the resort. Everything had seemed fine. We had just talked about it 3 days ago, and nothing was out of the ordinary. I had taken time off work, packed everything I needed, and even made sure my travel documents were in order. So when the day finally arrived, I grabbed my bags, hopped in a cab, and headed to the airport without a care in the world. Check-in was supposed to be routine. I walked up to the counter, gave them my information, and waited. The agent typed something, frowned, typed again, and then looked at me with a strange expression. Sir, your ticket was cancelled yesterday. I blinked. What? She hesitated. It was cancelled. I'm really sorry, but there are no more reservations under your name. I let out a small laugh, confused. That must be a mistake. I booked that ticket weeks ago. Can you check again? She did. Same result. I'm really sorry. There's nothing I can do. I took out my cell phone and called my parents. No answer. Called again. Still nothing. I tried my brother. No answer. My sister? Also nothing. That's when I saw the message pop up on my screen. From my mom and dad. You should take a cab home, loser! I just stared at it. Then, without meaning to, I burst out laughing. I mean, they really did that. My own parents, the people who invited me on this trip, went out of their way to cancel my ticket, not tell me, ignore my phone calls, and then send this message like a couple of immature teenagers playing a prank. I wasn't even angry at first. Just shocked. Disbelief turned to amusement. But then, as I stood there, surrounded by people coming and going, dragging their luggage to flights they were actually allowed to board, reality set in. I had been preparing for this for weeks. Took time off work. Cleared my schedule. And they had just decided, for no reason at all, to screw me like this. That's when the amusement turned into something else. These were the same parents I had helped financially more times than I could count. The same ones I had bailed out when things got tough. My sister's tuition? I covered most of it. My brother's wedding? He counted on me to pay for it. And this is how they treated me? They thought it was funny. They thought I'd get mad, throw a fit, maybe beg them for an explanation. No. They overplayed their hand. And now I had all the time in the world to make sure they regretted it. I turned around, left the airport, and went home. They would be gone for a week. And when they came back, they would find out exactly what happens when you push the wrong person too far. The cab ride home from the airport was quiet, but my mind was anything but. I wasn't just annoyed, I was calculating. My parents thought it was funny. They thought they could pull a stunt like this and go back to life as usual. But they had no idea that they had just given me a whole week to plan something they wouldn't forget. I walked into my apartment, dropped my bags, and sat down. I replayed everything in my mind. The last conversation we had 3 days before the flight. The way they acted completely normal. The fact that they canceled my ticket behind my back, ignored my calls, and then had the audacity to send this message. Have a nice cab ride home, loser. They wanted to humiliate me. They wanted to make me feel abandoned, left like an idiot in an airport. What they didn't realize was that I wouldn't just get over it. No, they were going to pay for it. So I started making moves. First, the money. I wasn't some billionaire bankrolling my family's lifestyle, but I was the one they always turned to when things got tight. My sister's college tuition? I covered a good chunk of that. My brother's wedding? He counted on me. My parents? They loved to ask for loans that I never saw again. They had gotten so used to my generosity that they never considered what would happen when I decided I was done. So I cut them off. Every single one of them. My banking app was the first to go. The automatic transfers to my sister's school? Cancelled. The money I had set aside to help my brother? Locked away. The emergency fund my parents always dipped into? Locked away. Then I sat back and waited. For the first few days, nothing happened. They were probably too busy enjoying their trip, sipping cocktails, and laughing about how they got me. But on the 5th day, the cracks began to show. The first message was from my sister. "Hey, can you send me the tuition money? It's due in a few days." I could almost feel her confidence in the text. She wasn't asking if I could help, she was expecting it. She had no idea what was coming. I simply replied, "Ask Mom and Dad." It took her a few minutes to answer. "What? What do you mean? I'm not paying for it anymore. You'll have to come up with something else." Nothing. Radio silence. I knew exactly what was going on. She was probably staring at her phone, confused, maybe even texting our parents. I could picture the exact moment the realization hit her. Then, the next morning, just as my parents were getting ready to fly back, my brother texted me. "Hey man, I need to talk to you about the wedding budget. Let's meet this weekend." I didn't even give him a slow build-up like I did with my sister. I got right to the point. "I'm not paying for anything. Figure it out yourself." His response came immediately. "What?" I didn't bother to explain. Let him sit with it. Let him panic. Then my parents finally landed. And that's when things really got interesting. The morning my parents landed, I knew the storm was coming. I didn't text, I didn't call, I just waited. I knew exactly how this was going to play out. They'd come home, settle in, and within a few hours the real chaos would begin. I was right. Around noon, my phone started to explode. My sister was the first to break down. "Mom and Dad said they don't have the money for my tuition. WTF is going on?" I let her message sit for a while. Then my brother jumped in. "Dude, I just talked to Mom. She said you're refusing to pay for the wedding? What the hell?" I laughed. "Oh, so they're all talking now?" Amazing how quickly they could communicate when money was involved. I finally decided to answer. "Yeah, I'm not paying for anything anymore. I hope you had a nice vacation though." Silence. Then my sister again. "What are you talking about? You literally promised to help." "Yes, and Mom and Dad literally promised me a vacation." Things change. That's when my parents finally got involved. My dad called first. I let it ring. My mom called right after that. Ignored. Then came the messages. "Mom, what are you doing, Kurt? Call me now." "Dad, enough with the attitude. We need to talk." I didn't answer. Let them sweat. An hour later, my brother showed up at my door. I opened it and leaned against the frame, looking at him like I wasn't in the middle of completely derailing their world. He was already annoyed. "You're really doing this?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "I'm serious." He ran a hand through his hair. "Okay, look. I don't know what happened, but this is bigger than some holiday drama. My wedding's in 3 months, dude." I raised an eyebrow. "So? And you said you'd help. I already told people we had the money covered." I shrugged. "Not my problem." His jaw clenched. "Come on, man. Don't do this just because Mom and Dad pissed you off." That made me laugh. Pissed me off? They stranded me in an airport and laughed about it. They planned it. And you were okay with it. He hesitated. "I mean, I didn't know they were going to do that. But you thought it was funny when they told you, right?" Silence. "Yeah," I said, nodding. "That's what I thought." He tried again. "Kurt, seriously. What am I supposed to do?" I smiled. "Take a cab home, loser." And then I slammed the door in his face. I knew this was only the beginning. The real fun would start when I finally sat down with our parents. Because I wasn't done yet. Not even close. I barely had time to enjoy slamming the door in my brother's face before my phone started ringing again. My mom. I let it ring. My dad. Ignored. Then my sister. Declined. I wanted them to really feel it before I gave them a chance to talk to me. Let them spiral, let them stress. And sure enough, less than 2 hours later, I got the notification I was waiting for. $0 available balance. My parents' joint bank account. The one they use for everything: groceries, bills, gas. The same account I had been sneaking money into for years. I knew they relied on it, but what I didn't know was how much. Turns out, without my money coming in, they were broke. Not strapped for cash. Not we have some savings. Broke. It took them less than a day after landing to spend what little they had left. I don't know if they overspent on their vacation, if they thought money would just magically appear, or if they really were that bad at managing their finances. But the second that account hit zero, I got a new kind of message. Mom. Kurt, there must be some mistake. The bank says we have nothing left. Can you send something now? Dad. We need to talk. It's important. I laughed. Now it's important? I let her wait a little longer before I finally answered. I don't know what to tell you. I guess you should have thought about that before you canceled my ticket. This time my mom didn't text back. She called. And I answered. As soon as I picked up, she started. Kurt, what is wrong with you? We just got back from vacation and now you're acting crazy. Your brother's wedding, your sister's school, do you even care about this family? That's funny, I said. I wondered the same thing when you stranded me at the airport. A pause. Then she scoffed. Oh, don't be dramatic. It was a joke. You seriously hold a grudge over that? I smiled. Sure I am. My father's voice cut in. Son, be reasonable. We need your help now. Yeah? Well, I needed a flight. I guess we're all out of luck. My mom sighed, as if I was the problem here. Kurt, we already spent a lot of money on this trip. We didn't think it would be a problem. We just assumed you'd help us out like you always do. And there it was. We assumed you'd continue to help us. They weren't sorry. They didn't regret what they did. They just assumed that no matter how much they screwed me over, I'd keep giving them money like an idiot. I let out a short laugh. Well, they assumed wrong. You wanted to teach me a lesson, right? Consider it a success. I have definitely learned something about this family. Kurt, stop being so selfish. My mother snapped. I almost lost it. Selfish? I had carried them all for years. I was paying for things they never even had to think about. And now that the free ride was over, I was being selfish? I took a breath. You know what? I'll see you tonight. We can talk in person. I hung up before they could answer. They expected me to come over, have a civil conversation, and magically fix everything. They had no idea what was about to happen. I showed up at my parents' house that evening, right on time. They must have been waiting by the window because the second I parked, the front door swung open. My dad was standing there, arms crossed. My mom was a few steps behind him. My sister was sitting on the couch with her arms folded, and my brother was leaning against the wall, looking just as pissed. A real family reunion. I walked in, took my time, sat down at the dining table like I wasn't the most hated person in the room. My dad spoke first. All right, Kurt. Enough games. What is going on? I shrugged. I don't know. You tell me. Last time we talked, I was supposed to be on a flight. Now I'm suddenly your financial lifeline. Crazy how things change. My mom let out an annoyed sigh. Oh my God, it was a joke. Are you really dragging this out over some harmless prank? I smiled. Funny how it's a joke when you do it, but when I cut you guys off, it's a crisis. My brother chimed in. Okay, but you're screwing over all of us now. This isn't just about Mom and Dad. My wedding is in 3 months. You promised to help. And I thought I was part of this family. But I guess things change, huh? My sister snapped. You're ruining my education over this? How is that fair? Oh, you mean like how stranding me in an airport was fair? I leaned back. Weird. Nobody cared about fairness when it was happening to me. Silence. They didn't like that. Finally, my dad sat down across from me. Kurt, he said, in that reasonable dad voice he always used when he wanted something. Be logical about this. You're in a good place financially. This isn't going to hurt you. I raised an eyebrow. And whose fault is it that you're not in a good place financially? That shut him up. I looked around at all of them. My mom looked pissed, my brother looked desperate, my sister looked like she was about to cry. You guys got so used to me bailing you out that you thought you could screw me over and nothing would change. I said. Well, congratulations. You finally pushed me too far. My mom clenched her jaw. So that's it? You're just abandoning your family? I laughed. No, Mom. You abandoned me first. Then I stood up. Enjoy figuring this out on your own. I walked to the door, grabbed the handle. And then my dad said something that made me stop. Kurt, if you walk out that door, don't expect to be welcomed back. I turned to face him. He was serious. My mom was nodding in agreement. My brother and sister were just watching, waiting to see what I'd do. I pretended to think about it. Then I smiled. Okay. And then I walked out. They wanted to play games? Fine. Let's see how they do without me. I half expected them to call me that night. Maybe my dad would try to guilt-trip me, or my mom would send some long-winded message about family obligations. But no, nothing. For a few weeks, things were quiet. I went about my life, worked, went out with friends, enjoyed the peace of not being my family's personal ATM. And honestly, it felt good. Then, out of nowhere, my brother called. Hey man, he said, acting casual. We were thinking maybe we should do a little family trip. You know, to clear the air. I almost laughed. A family trip? Yeah. A nice resort, all of us together. Relax, have fun, no drama. I smirked. Who's paying for it? He hesitated. Well, we figured you could cover it. Since you're, doing well and all. I actually burst out laughing. You guys are unbelievable. You screwed me over on a vacation, and now you want me to pay for one? Dude, come on. This would be different. We'd include you this time. Oh wow. How generous. I could hear my mom in the background. Tell him we'll let him pick the place. I shook my head. You guys are so cheap it's actually impressive. You're literally pretending to care about what I want just so you can get a free trip. Kurt, that's not. Nah, don't even try it. The answer's no. Okay, but you'll think about it, right? I laughed again. No, I won't. And I hung up. That was the moment I knew they weren't changing. They didn't feel bad. They didn't regret anything. They just wanted me back because they needed me. But unfortunately for them, I didn't need them. So I kept my distance. I answered their calls, replied to their messages, even met up with them for dinner a few times. But I never paid for anything. No school fees, no wedding help, no vacations. And over time, they started to get it. They still tried, of course. My mom would throw little comments like, "Wow, must be nice to be able to afford all these things." Or my dad would hint at unexpected expenses that I used to help with. My sister and brother kept up the fake friendliness for a while, but when they realized I wasn't budging, even they started pulling away. And you know what? That was fine. I didn't resent them. I wasn't even mad anymore. I just wasn't their personal bank account anymore. And that, to them, was the ultimate betrayal. For months, my family kept trying. Not to apologize. No, that would require admitting they were wrong. Instead, they tried different ways to pull me back in. Guilt, manipulation, fake kindness, even outright begging. But the thing about desperate people? They get sloppy. And that's when I saw my perfect opportunity. It started with my brother. His wedding was creeping up, and despite my refusal to fund it, he still went full speed ahead, assuming something would magically work out. Spoiler, it didn't. A month before the big day, he called me in full panic mode. Okay, listen, I know you said you weren't helping, but I really need you, man. I let him ramble for a bit about venues, vendors, and deposits. Then I hit him with, I thought you had it covered? Yeah, but things happened. We're short, and Mom and Dad don't have enough. I leaned back in my chair, smiling. Damn. That sucks. Kurt, please. If I don't get this money, we're screwed. I pretended to think. All right. I'll help you out. Oh my God, thank you, man. You don't know what this means. I laughed. Yeah, I do. That's why I'm not actually helping. Have a nice wedding. And I hung up. 2 days later, my parents called me together. A rare event. Kurt, we need to talk, my mom said. It's serious. I already knew what this was about, but I played along. Oh? What's wrong? She sighed dramatically. Your brother is in trouble. He needs financial help for the wedding. And we don't have enough. She snapped, like it was my fault. Kurt, this is a family emergency. I grinned. Oh, now it's an emergency? That's funny. You didn't seem too worried about me when you canceled my flight. Where was this family loyalty back then? Kurt, don't be childish. I smiled. You know what? You're right. I should help. In fact, I'll cover the entire wedding. Silence. Then my dad said, Really? Yeah, I said. On one condition. Anything, my mom said quickly. You and Dad go to the wedding, in a taxi. Dead silence. What? A taxi, I repeated. No car, no rentals. Just a nice, long, humiliating taxi ride to the biggest event of the year. Just like the one I had to take when you left me stranded. My mom gasped. That's petty? Yeah, it is. But hey, if you don't like the deal, you're welcome to figure it out yourselves. They refused, of course. Their pride wouldn't let them. And just like that, my brother's wedding was downgraded from a fancy venue to a sad little church gathering with a backyard reception. And me? I was nowhere to be found. But the best part? That was just the beginning. Over the next few months, they started losing more than just my money. My parents' financial situation got worse. The house needed repairs, the bills stacked up, and for the first time in years, they had to live within their actual means. Turns out, they weren't very good at it. My sister had to take out student loans, something she had always avoided because I had been covering her. My brother's new wife wasn't happy about the last-minute budget cuts, and their relationship started getting rocky immediately. And through it all, I was just living my life. Watching them struggle, knowing they had done this to themselves. One day, my mom finally broke. She called me, voice softer than I'd ever heard it. Kurt, she said, can we please just go back to the way things were? I smiled. We can't. But hey, at least now you know what it feels like to be left behind. And then, for the first time ever, I hung up on her,